What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Dr. Killjoy, coming at you again. We have another tier list. Today, we're coming at you with the CDL Call of Duty League teams. We're going to be ranking them A through F. Got all 12 teams here. Just had their 1 year anniversary kickoff weekend, so I'm not going to be judging solely off that. Obviously, I'm going to be judging just based off of the potential, just the roster in general, but we'll be taking that a little bit into account. But those games didn't really have any impact, so we can't use them too heavily. So we're gonna jump straight on into it. We have the Toronto Ultra, who lost 3-2 to the Minnesota Rocker. So they honestly made that series more competitive than I thought they would. I did not. I thought that they were gonna lose, but I didn't think that it was gonna go to a game 5. I think the Toronto Ultra are a strong C. I think that there will be a very average team throughout the year. They're gonna probably have some upset wins, gonna have some losses that they probably should win, but I don't necessarily see them winning any tournaments or anything. I think they're gonna be an average team. They kept all their roster from last year, so shout out Methods. He's a good guy. Moving on, New York Subliners. Very tragic situation here with Zuma. You really hate to see that, but I mean, there's only so much you control. Hope he recovers quick. But with their current situation, with Hydra still not being in the U.S., I feel like that's another setback for them. But with their potential, I'm with Clayster on that team. They had a tough matchup against Empire, the reigning champs. So no, like I don't want to say no one expected them to win, but I definitely didn't. I think I'll put them in a C as well for now. We'll see how Clayster is able to help grow that young talent. I really like Asim. I think he's a super underrated player, and Mac is also nasty. So we'll see what they're able to come up with. You got the LA Gorillas, which I don't know how I feel about them. They did win. Who'd they play? They played Seattle, and they won 3-2, I believe. They have an interesting team. I think they were 100% a better roster than they were last year. I expect this team to win some games. I think I do I put them Honestly, I think I put them in B. I think I put them ahead of both these teams. I think this team has potential. They got Apathy, Silly, and Assault, the trio that has won a ring with Aches. It's a weird ring, but it was a weird tournament in general, but they did win a ring. So I think that team has potential. I'll put them in B tier for now. I might move that around, though. Next up, you got the reigning champs, the Dallas Empire. It's hard to not put them in A, especially after a 3-0-2. Team's nasty. I could see them potentially having issues. I don't want to say that there's egos on that team because I don't think that's the good way to describe it, but I feel like there could be issues there if they don't succeed early and often. But they're definitely worth the A tier. They won the league last year. You can't put them anywhere lower. Florida Mutineers. I 100% am putting them in A tier as well. Put them over there. I think they are 100% a top team. They beat FaZe 3-2, which surprised me with a new look roster. Unfortunately, really hate to see that one. But yeah, I think that they're an A tier team. They can compete with the best and they can win tournaments 100%. Do we have Chicago on here twice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Are we missing someone? Am I cracked? Let's move on to FaZe and I'll see if I can figure that one out. Am I cracked out of my... whatever. FaZe, I feel like you kind of have to put them in A tier. I mean, they lost this weekend, and I think that's kind of what is hitting me right now. Yeah, they're 100% in A tier. They lost against Florida, but I think that they're still on that same tier as them. I like that series can go either way, and hopefully it does. Hopefully we see that matchup frequently throughout the season. That's a good matchup right there. So I expect FaZe to get better throughout the year with Arcides. He's a good leader for that squad. They have a lot of chemistry outside of the game. Abizi, Simp, Arcides, all teammates before, and you throw in Celium. That's nasty. You got Optic Chicago. I'm throwing them straight up into the A tier as well. They made a. Oh, is this supposed to be 100T then? I'm gonna use this one as 100T. Because they made 100T look shaky, for sure. 3-0, and I understand that it is like there's no impact on the game, but still, they got 3-0, and it wasn't very close. That hard point was almost a 100-point club. It was very close to being a 100-point club, so I think these four teams. I don't know that I'm gonna. Spoiler alert, I don't think I'm putting any other teams in A because I think those four are definitely the top four. So we're gonna be using this one as 100T. 100T. I think even though they did just get 3 out and I did just talk smack on them, you have to put them in the B tier. I am wearing their jersey after all. That team is gonna grow. They're gonna be nasty by the end of the year. I think that they just need to go through their growing pains. You kind of saw it last year with the OGLA squad, similar lineup. They started slow and rocky, but by the end of the year, they were a threat. And then, yeah, I think that they'll grow throughout the year, but they're definitely not A tier yet. By the end of the year, they 100% could be. Paris, this is a weird team. I feel like it's four players that just got thrown together, and it was also a very late announcement for who's on the roster, but they won against London. Do I think Paris is going to win championships? No. I think Paris has to be a C tier here for now. To be honest, I didn't watch this matchup, so I can't take much from it, but I feel like it's just such a weird lineup that they could surprise, but I don't expect them to. I 100% put them on the same level as an Ultra and a Subliners. Seattle, they lost 3-2 to LAG. Yeah. Uh, D, and honestly, I part of me wants to put them in F because this team needs to win for them to be successful because I feel like this team has a lot of egos or attitudes or just different mindsets. You got Gunless, who has been known to come off harsh and whatnot. You got Looney, who's just a natural in-game leader. You got Prestini, who is a very selfless player, but that kind of has an impact on him. And then, who's their fourth? Oh, Octane. Very good. Like, one of the best ARs in the game, but I feel like that team can go down if they need to win games to be successful. And I guess that's an obvious statement, but I worry about that team. And then you got the London Royal Ravens, who lost to Paris, and I'm not high on Paris. So I think you got to put London in the D tier. And that is kind of basing it off of just that one matchup, but Paris was thrown together kind of last minute, so I don't know that they got much practice as a team, and they still beat London. And I believe on London they had Zero still playing in the UK, which sucks. They got to get that sorted out, but I don't see them winning tournaments this year. I don't know. I'm not confident in that squad, so that's why they're going to be in the D tier. Last but not least, you got the Minnesota Rocker. This team excites me. Like, just think about the players on this roster for a little bit, and the more you think about it, the more kind of confident you are in this team. They did win 3-2 against Ultra. So I am going to be putting him in the B tier. Shout out to my boy Attach. Anyone doesn't know, he's my boy. I'm modding his Twitch chat. Twitch.tv/Attach. Free plug right there. I could see them winning tournaments, though. That team is nasty. They got accuracy, solid main AR, and then you got Major Maniac, who underrated player, 100%. He was a big part of FaZe's success last year. Who can kind of do whatever he needs to do to win. You got Priesta, one of the most underrated players in the whole league. He's nasty. He can use an AR. He can use a sub. If snipes get allowed back into the game, he can snipe. He can do it all. He's a very smart player. I like him a lot. And then obviously my boy Thatch. He can do it all. He's a fast sub. He's going to be making the plays. He'll get in the hill. He'll break the hill. He's my boy. So, that's going to do it for the CDL. I think it's a very competitive league this year with no expansion and dropping down to 4v4. There's a lot of players who didn't make it back into the league. And that kind of sucks. I hope that we do see some expansion teams, hopefully next year, just because there's so much talent in the challengers, that challenger scene, that those players 100% could be in the CDL and making plays. So hopefully we do see an expansion, but this is my preseason CDL rankings, I guess you could say. Let me know if you guys agree, disagree, whatever, down in the comments below. Just keep it respectful. That's going to do it for today. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.